Hello, testing. Hello, hello, hello. How is it going, everybody? I'm gonna pause the music, or actually, I might just put it lower. There we go. I'll just put it a little bit lower. How is it going, everybody? How is your day? Hey, Peter. I'm gonna pop out the chat. I should have done this just a second ago. There we go. This is new music, so let's see how it goes. How's everybody's day? I'm gonna... Yeah, just double checking. So what we are doing today, we are going to make a custom Vapor API for the expense tracker app that I've been building. And so that means we'll be making a couple endpoints and making the database and data models, and then testing everything out and seeing if it all works. Hey Martin, I'm glad your day's going well. And as you all saw, if you were here early, hey Megan, if you were here early, I figured out how to make a countdown timer. So I may have that in the beginning a little bit because it helps when people are still like filtering in. For everybody, let me know if the volume sounds good for me and the music that's in the background. Might turn it down a little bit. It's a little loud on my side. Hey Megan, how'd the rest of your stream go? And so let's get started. We are going to be making the Vapor backend. Let's see how this goes. So let's move over to my monitor. There we go. I'm in the terminal. We'll move that a little bit away from me. Because I forget that I'm like in this corner and I always put my terminal in the bottom left. So, Megan, it went alright. Somehow derived data is being produced twice. Oh, that's an issue that I have never encountered. That sounds interesting. Okay. First steps. So I have already created a folder called Expense Tracker, and we'll put both the backend and the iOS app code here. You tried adding tests via Xcode Gen and it should be doable. Okay. That sounds interesting. Super excited for Vapor though. Woohoo! You're in the right place. Basically, let me bring this up. This is my like little planning doc that I had for all the different endpoints and what the data is going to look like. So an overview for everybody who may or may not have been here before. Here is the app that I'm building. It is going to be an iPad app and start with iOS 16. So we're going to be using the Xcode beta. And this is the income tab. So we'll have like the sidebar on the side here. Income will show our monthly gross income. Income sources, which we might choose a different graph. I think I wrote that down somewhere because the new charts API with SwiftUI actually does not have a circle chart, a pie chart. So we will pick a different one when we get to that. This is what your expenses could look like. So it's still in this monthly format, but it's now separated by the different categories that we have. And then we'll have a dashboard that'll show you this kind of chart, which is another bar looking chart, but also with a line chart on it, or a line graph that will show you the profit that you had that month. And then at the bottom, so far, I just have like a little table of your top income sources and top expenses. This may be for the last 30 days down here, but it's, as I'm looking at it again, it's like, this would be 30 days, let's say, but then this one kind of doesn't make sense to really view your profit daily. So this may actually replace what we have. I'm not sure. We'll keep this, but we may not make it 30 days. We'll see how it goes. It's still very up in the air, sort of. I was posting on all my social media that I was here. I'm double checking that it was posted. Oh, one's still uploading. Hopefully that uploads. So this is our very low fidelity sketch that I have. And then these are just the screens for when you are adding a new income or adding a new expense. It's just your basic normal pop-up screen and then a setting screen. But what we also have here though are all of the different tables. So all of the database tables that we'll be keeping our data in are going to be categories, income, expense, and then accounts. And with those four, we will then have these APIs. So we have category, income, expense, and account. And and all of these need to do create, read, update, and delete. And then lastly, we're thinking of something like monthly income. So you can easily get the data that we need for this graph, because this is just monthly. All we need is the month and then a number. So instead of on the client side doing that ourselves, we could just make an endpoint that does it. Hey Pratt, how's it going? We will be using SwiftUI. And so here's our monthly income, and then possibly a yearly income as well. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. But let's focus on the top four right now. So we're going to do category, income, and expense. I might make the music a little bit louder now, because we're going to get into it. Are you storing that number in the DB or calculating on the server? Which number? No, Martin, we are not going to do AppKit at the moment. We are really going to start with iOS, so it's going to start with iPad first specifically, because I can't move my phone to a beta, or I don't want to, and I don't want to move my Mac onto a beta either. So because of that, we are going to just keep everything on iPad for right now. Maybe monthly income and yearly income should be income monthly. That's a good idea. I'm gonna write that down. So here, let's zoom out a little bit on it. Let's make this bigger. We need more room. We got more APIs coming. So instead of this, let's duplicate that and call it just income. And then we may have, slash monthly and income slash yearly. Good idea. So we'll get back to that one because it's going to be more complicated, and honestly I haven't figured out what I want to do with it yet. So for now we will just do the top four. And should I keep this up here so we can see what we're working on? We'll keep it right there. Okay. Does anyone know if I can close these side panes on this? Because I really only want to see the sketch itself. I don't really want to see the side right now. And then Megan, about the data, am I storing that data in the DB or calculating on the server? Which one again? So it'll be, so the income and expenses, or the category, the income, the expense, and the account will all be stored on the server. So actual calculations, it depends on what they are, but I'll be calculating some of them just on the server itself. And so I can then return like the exact data that I need for like a chart, and I don't actually need to do like any calculation on the client. Oh, storing. Oh, that doesn't do it. Storing monthly income and calculating. At the moment, I may just go with calculation because it's easier. Because otherwise, the question is on the server, how do I know when I want to calculate the monthly? Would be the question. I'd have to do some kind of like back-end calculation to know when to do that calculation. Or some back-end, not calculation, some back-end script or something. But here we go. Let's get started. Okay, get started. Let's see what it says. Okay, that just said welcome. Get started, hello world. That's what we need. So, here we go. Vapor new. What do we call this project? Because I don't want to just call it backend. That's kind of weird, I think. Let's call it... What do you all think? What should we call this? And for everyone who's just joining, we are going to be making the Vapor API for my expense tracking app because we are going to make a complete custom backend. And right now, I have to figure out what do I want to name the project. And then also, if you like this kind of content, then you can subscribe to my channel. And also, if you are feeling generous, but you don't have to, you can go and buy me a coffee as well. And I haven't had it happen yet, but if you buy me a coffee while I'm on stream, I should have an alert set up. I don't know if it's set up completely correctly. It maybe is. But when you do that, it should do a pop-up thing on my computer. Hey Kevin, how's it going? Okay, expense tracker service. That's a good one. Let's call it... Let's call it expense tracker kit, like weather kit and those kind of kits. Okay. Oh my gosh, there's my... What is that called? The doc. Okay, here we go. Expense tracker kit. Did I spell it right? Yes. Here we go. Cloning template. Do we want to use Fluent? Yes, we do. So Fluent, this is a... What is it? I think it's technically an ORM, so it's how we are going to really communicate with the database, and we can use Swift to do this, as opposed to using any kind of SQL code. So we're going to say yes. What database? We are going to do Postgres. Do we want to use Leaf? Ooh, I do not know. Let's go with... Yeah, no for right now. So Leaf is a templating language. If we were going to like make an actual website behind this as well, which could possibly happen, but I'm gonna go with no for right now because I'm really thinking of this as just the backend for an iOS/Mac app. Oh, Pratt, you had an idea of savings kit. That would have been good. But it's for business though. It's not like a personal account. It's for like business owners. Kevin, you're good. You're finishing moving into your apartment later. Ooh, that's exciting. That's fun. When I recently moved from an apartment, I had to walk, I was on the 3rd floor, so we had to carry all of my crap, like, up and down 3 flights of stairs. It was awful. Okay, so what the generator thing does is it generates all of the project files that we want, and it gives you a basic to-do application. So that's why everything is called to-do. And then Vapor, a web framework for Swift. I'm gonna make that tiny again. And then we just cd into expense tracker kit. And then to open your project, if using Xcode, you type open package.swift or code period if using VS Code. we're doing expense tracker kit, and let's cd into, or not cd, we are going to do open package.swift because I will be using Xcode for this. And I'm not sure, I could maybe use the Xcode beta, but I don't think I really need to, honestly, for this. So here we're getting all the different packages that are coming into the project, because with Vapor there's like 1,000 of them. And okay, we have fetched everything. Let's run it. So we can either run it in Xcode or you can run it from the command line. I don't remember honestly what the command is, but if we go to youtube.com/codewithchris, he has a tutorial series under playlist for getting started with Vapor 4. And in this playlist, I am the teacher of it, after this lovely ad. But that guy's pretty cool, so, but it's a Shopify ad, so that's interesting. So here's me. I am the teacher for this playlist, if you want to get started with Vapor. But this is, honestly, it's super useful. I go back to it because I forget what I'm doing. So here, this is installing everything. So we have installed all the things that we need for this. So we are gonna skip that one. And there's me. Do I run it from the... Oh well. We'll go through it. And, okay, we should be able to run it and we'll see this and... Oh, there it is. You can run Swift run and that will run it in the command line because Vapor and Swift is a language, they're not both languages. Vapor is a framework, but Swift is a language that can run on multiple OSs. Don't recognize me without my unicorn hat. I know, I didn't have it at that point yet, so it's brand new. Actually, I've had it for a while now, so. But yeah, those were different times without my hat. But hey Jordan, how's your day going? So we are going to open Postman. Okay. I'm closing everything I had open with Postman so we can use it. Okay, here we go. Let's put this down there. Let's run this. Oh my gosh, the fans are on my Mac. I never hear them, but when I'm streaming, that's when they start to kick on. Let's run the project and see what we have. And this is the first time we're running the project, obviously, because I just literally created it. So because of that, it takes a hot second to get up and running. Ooh, Postman has an update. Let's update that as well. Let's do all the things while my computer is crying. There we go. Or untitled get request. Pratt, you've been using Paw for a while and it's been a terrific replacement for Postman and is Mac native too. Oh, I know, it's Mac native. I forgot Postman isn't. It's good enough. Because yeah, it's, if you start with this, if you start to go too small, look at this. It just cuts off. It's like, nope, you don't get that part of the program anymore. Oh, you can't see it because it's behind the chat, but right here, if you make the window too small, you just don't get the rest of the program. It's not needed. So I try to make it as small as I can. But I know Paw costs money, so that's why, like, I don't have it. But I'll pay if a program is that good. I just haven't switched yet. Okay, we do not have a working directory set. So let's set that because I don't like that warning to come up anymore. Ooh, set app. I need to get set app. I know that I use it at work, and I now have like a million, what are those called? Little applications in my, what is this? The status bar. So I saw bartender comes with set app, and I'm like, ooh, this I use it at work, and I'm like, this is nice. Let's set the working directory. And is that edit scheme? I don't even remember. Can I move this? Okay. I'm gonna move the window. Excuse me. I am going to set this on my own computer because y'all don't need to see my file structure. It's kind of sad. There we go. We have set the working directory. So now this custom working directory, it's because of how Vapor is, it's like, it doesn't have an Xcode project, so it's not like immediately connected to like Xcode and derived data. So when you set a custom working directory, that like connects it. Bartender for the win. Yes, I agree. Okay, so we can copy this, go here in our URL, which can you see that? Or I can make it a little bit bigger. Let's do that. Gotta make the window bigger itself too. And we'll put it in the middle. And I'm gonna keep the Vapor docs open. Let me make a new desktop. Because I may need them, because I may forget what I'm doing. But let's drop this here. And if we hit send, we get back, it works. And the reason, and that's right here, the reason we get back it works is because if we start to open all of our controllers and everything else, inside of, is it routes? Yeah, the default route, so the default get route, you'll get back it works. Otherwise, if we do /hello, we get back hello world. Hit send, and there we go. Hello world. Awesome. There we go. Okay. This music is real quiet. Let me put this way. I don't know. This music is more chill than I thought it was. I thought it would be more hype. It is called hype, so disappointed it's not more hype. Okay, the song's called Bring Me Chaos. Hey Gina, are you the same Gina that was on Megan's stream? Excuse me, I'm choking on water. Thanks for joining in, Pratt. You can definitely catch the replay. Have a good rest of your day or night. Okay. We have all of these routes. Let's keep that open, and we have to-do controller. And what do we need to do? We need to make our database, and we also need to run it. Let's do... I need to open Docker. Because Docker is where the database is actually going to be. Because if we look at the configure function, here is setting up the database. Excuse me. And that's registering our migration. Oh, Docker's over here. Okay, let's put Docker. They can go up in the corner. No, just a big fan. That's awesome though too. Thank you for joining. Oh, thank you. Wait. It just says someone bought me 2 coffees. Awesome, thank you. Actually, I can check it on my phone who that actually was because I didn't know the name wouldn't show up. Is there a sound to that? I didn't hear a sound. Oh, it was someone because it was anonymous, that's why. But thank you so much. Okay, good. I'm glad my alert works, but I need to figure out how to make sound for that because I only saw it because I was like, I happened to be looking over here when that happened. Otherwise, I don't think I would have seen it. But thank you so much. And if you're liking this video, be sure to like it in the bottom. That would be awesome. Because it helps more people see it in my growing YouTube channel. Okay, Megan, you said the alert doesn't include sound as far as you're aware. Okay, good to know. Interesting to see how Swift is used for a backend. Yes, it definitely is. It's weird, but it's cool. Are there even... Yeah, there's 1,000 libraries. Or actually, these are all package dependencies for using Vapor, but for using Swift, there are a couple of libraries for like making things easier and whatnot. I would say there's a good couple. I mean, of course, it's literally not to the level of what you get with any JavaScript backend because that's pretty much where everything is, but it's fun to build it with Swift as well. So let's get I'm gonna make a new thing. So if we type docker compose updb, you'll see it actually has a docker compose file and a docker file. And so here's the build images. We could start both of them. Like here's this starting the app and that's starting the database only. So that's what we're gonna do. And we're just gonna start the Docker database part of this as opposed to the entire app running into Docker container. So there we go, it's kicked off. You can see it over here. Expense tracker. Oh, there it was. Why did that go away? I don't want the... Can I close that? Okay, yeah, it's expense tracker. Now I can get that first month of set app. Thank you. I appreciate it. I will look into it. Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh. You don't need to see how my dock is like ginormous. And it looks even bigger on this screen too, because this is the bigger screen that I have. And so we only have one container running, and we can see that it's the database. You can see right here it says starting Postgres, listening, and database system is ready to accept connections. Okay, so when we do this, I believe if we run this now, if we run it again, this migration should run, and we should have a database that's called, I think to-dos. Yeah, we should have a database, not a database, we should have a table that's called to-dos, and it will have an ID and a title. The cup is huge. How much software engineering fuel does that hold? A lot. This cup is also, you can't see it as well because I have a green screen and it's green, but this is my pair programming mug. So this is pair programming, everyone's favorite. I'm glad you like that. Okay. What do I need? I need a thing to view my database. What do I have on my computer? Let's see. I have dbeaver. Dbeaver was downloaded from the internet. Yeah, I know. I did it. Okay, so this is a... Oh, what's the word for it? It's a thing to be able to view our database. So let's connect to it. So we have to click the plus button and connect to the database. So we're like connecting to our Docker container over here. And I'm gonna close this because it's kind of irrelevant because I'm running it out of the terminal. That music was not as hyped as I thought it would be. You want PG admin? Isn't that a website? Or isn't it web-based? But I'm not doing anything super crazy with the database, so I'm not like super concerned. Okay, what is our thing called? So we can see everything. The database host is called localhost. And right now, because I do not have environment variables set up, the username is Vapor username and the password is Vapor password. And the database is called Vapor database. So we have Postgres Vapor database. Username is Vapor username and Vapor password. So I'll probably develop on this and then I'll go back and creating an environment and actually changing it to something secure. So there we go, it says connected. So if we hit finish, there we go, we have our database. So we open up the database, open up schemas, public, and then tables. And we have no tables, so we need to run the migration. Okay, you said PG admin is web base. You think it's on Docker Hub as well? Oh, I may have to look at that then. I just basically found a free one that I could use, honestly, and kind of just went with that for right now. Okay, we need to run this migration. Do I not have the migrations.add? Oh, I'm gonna have to look at. Let me open Safari again. So here is the repo for Code with Chris, and here is the Vapor API for the Vapor series, like tutorial series that I was the teacher of. And so we're gonna use this and reference. Let's go to lesson 6. We're gonna use this to reference the command that I need to run the migration, because this added it. I don't think it actually ran it though. Hey, just smile. Hello from someone. That has some programming, or no, sorry, for someone that has some programming basics. How much does it take to learn iOS dev? If you already know some programming, it's easy to pick up. Swift is a great language. So it's really easy to pick up, but actually like starting to get into it, I wouldn't say it takes terribly long, but you just got to get up and running. Which is not a good answer, but it's basically, it's not hard to pick up if you already know another programming language, I would say. I've heard people say it's very similar to TypeScript if you've done web. We are looking for sources app configure. That's it. This is the line we need. I knew it was in here. Try app auto migrate and wait. So this means, here's adding the migrations that we're gonna have. This is actually creating a migration, or actually running the migrations, and then waiting until they're finished. And are we using async await? We should be. Awesome, we are. That's super exciting. Oh, Gina, you just started coding as well? That's awesome. How do you like it so far? And then Jeff, it took you about 300 hours to get familiar with Swift and SwiftUI. You're pretty slow though. I don't even know how long it took me in hours. That seems like a lot. Just like the number 300 sounds like a lot. Not that like a lot for anybody. But I know Sean Allen, between the time he completed his boot camp until getting a job, it was only like 6 months or so, I think. Which is really short. It took me, I think, almost a full year to get a job, but that was also because it was like when the pandemic started, so it's not really a good comparison. Oh, you didn't just start coding, you meant to someone else learning iOS, yeah. You're a senior, okay. Okay, so we needed to run that. Let's keep this repo open. I feel like we're gonna reference it again. It'll just be buried back behind all the millions of applications I have open right now. Okay, now let's run this. There we go. Now we can even see it says migrator. Starting prepare and finish prepare for the create to do migration. So for anyone who's not familiar with Vapor, migrations are kind of like using Git but for your database. So it was over here. We tried to create our database or our table called to-dos, and then if for some reason this failed, we would have reverted that change, which would mean delete the table. So now if we refresh this, there we go. We have two tables, one for to-dos and one for our Fluent migrations. So this shows you what the migrations were. So if we go to, it's a view table, view data. It's the view data. So we can see the one migration that we've ran is called create to do. And then our to-do table, let's view data. We have nothing in it, which is obvious because we don't have any data, but we are running it. So if we run the to-dos endpoint, we get back an empty array because there's nothing there. But if we do a raw, we need JSON, I think it's, is it title? Is that what it was called? Yep, it's called title, and we can look at the to-do controller. We want to create a new to-do, so we need to do a post request. So let's say, spell it right. Oh, that's a get. If we send this post request, we have create the Vapor backend with an ID. And if we go and look at our table, refresh it again, there we go. There's our one little to-do in the database. So that is just the basic project though. I haven't actually done anything yet. Okay, and for everyone, I'll say it again, for everyone who is just joining, I am making a custom Vapor backend for the expense tracker app that I'm making. So instead of relying on Firebase or MongoDB or something else, I'm going to make the backend myself. So it's a little bit harder, but it's also partially just for fun. So if you like this, be sure to like the video because that really helps. And if you're interested at all, you can go and buy me a coffee. It's not necessary whatsoever, but just dropping it here because I have a little alert that'll show up on this side. Oh, that way. Because, you know, this gets cut off. It'll show up on that side and hopefully I see it because I have found out that there is no sound with that. So I'll keep an eye on it, but that's what we're doing. So here we go. Let's make one of these. And what we're going to do is copy and paste. So the first thing, let's make our category endpoint. So to do this, we need a table called category. So if we go up in my planning that I had, we have categories. We need name. We need a name that's a string, ID, type, which is either income or expense, and is archived. Because when we say delete a category, we're actually not going to delete one for anybody. We're going to actually just mark it as archived. Because when you think about it, if somebody deleted a category to something, say they made money off of a course that they discontinued, or no, that's a bad example. Let's say somebody made money off of some business or something that they no longer do business with, and they want to delete the category. Well, all the data that's still associated with that category, we don't just want to delete the reference to it because that would break things, so we want to just mark it as archived, was the thought process here. So let's make, we need a new migration for a category table. So this is a Swift file, and I don't know why it just creates it called file. It's annoying. Let's do create category. And let's call the file create category. And what we're going to do is good old copy and paste. Copy that. Paste it in here. But change this to create category. I haven't figured out if I like this music. It's too chill for me. But it's supposed to be hype, so I don't know why it's not hype. Let's do this one. That was even more chill. Let's get better. There we go. Okay, our category. Let's get my little planning doc and put it next to it. Yeah, we can put it up in the corner. And there we go. Cool. Okay, we want to call this table categories. It'll have an ID, and this, instead of title, it'll be called a name, and it'll be a string that is required, meaning we cannot create this without that. Let's create another field. And let's do is archived. Data type is a bool. That is required as well. And then income. So I want income and expense. I want this to be a Boolean, I think. Or not a Boolean, a enum. How long did it take you to learn Vapor? That's a good question. When did I learn Vapor? Let's see. I first learned Vapor. Oh, when was this? I did it at a job. We had a custom Vapor backend at work, at one of my old jobs actually, and I learned some of it there. But when did I create? Let's go back and look. When did I? Okay, this was October 2021. So I created this tutorial series after I left that job. So I would say I learned Vapor. I'd say it took me a couple months or so, not being familiar with like backends or being familiar with APIs. I'm already familiar with like databases, so that part was like easy for me. But I would say the basics don't take terribly long. So if you go through this tutorial series, yeah, so video link here, after a lovely ad for Monday. So this tutorial series, Getting Started with Vapor 4, I was actually the teacher of this, and you can get up and running with this, and from here you can then start to do something with it. So I will drop the first video of this series below, and that's a good place to get started, I would say. To do stuff more advanced, it's harder, and that's probably what I'm actually about to look into. But to get started, it's not too difficult. Generally, I would say. But that's just from my experience, because I already know about databases, so this wasn't hard for me to like comprehend for this part. So we want not the getting started docs, let's do fluent model. So what I want to try to do here and here is the type of income. I want to make this like an enum, so that the income type could be either income, expense, or it could possibly be whatever may come later. So because of that, I want to make it an enum so it's type safe, because I think it would be weird saving this as a string. So let's keep it as a field, but I call it enum. I think it's actually called enum. That's okay though, I don't care. Okay, this is our model. This is not the migration, though. So enum is a special type for a field for storing representable types as native database enums. Native database enums provide an added layer of type safety to your database and may be more performant than raw enums. Okay. String representable codable for animal types. We have an animal that is string codable, dog, cat. Okay, so that's not difficult. Okay, what is a raw enum? Oops, sorry. Oh, okay, so there's an enum that's an actual like enum type, or we have a raw enum, which in reality is just going to be stored like as a string or an integer. That's good to know. Yeah, I guarantee there probably is a Gina to like automatically generate everything, but I'm gonna just do it manually. Plus, then I know what it does as well. Rather than somebody who's like, oh, I'll just generate this command. I don't really know what it does, but you probably could. I'm not going to, though. So we're not gonna look at Fluent. We need schema. Here we go. .enum. Oh, that's cool. Let's see. We need a database type capable of storing Swift enums natively. Native enums provide an added layer of type safety to your database and made more performant than raw enums. Use an enum method on the database. I think I've done this before. It's so we need to actually create an enum itself before we can then use it on an actual different migration as well. Provide an add layer of type safety. Yep, that's what we want. Love type safety. Use the enum method on database. Each case of the enum. Okay. Once an enum has been created, you can use the read method to generate a data type for your schema field. Oh, do we have to flat map it? Do we have to? An example of reading an enum and using it to define a new field. Well, that's what we're going to be doing. Do I need to... Okay, I think I need to create... Okay. We need to create an enum migration, and then in our create category, we'll use this one. Oh, there's the async await version. Perfect. Okay, let's just close that one for now. We will create a new migration. And this is going to be create category type. And create category, we will again copy this. Nope, not to do this one. Type, and instead of here, I don't know if we need try await. I'm guessing we do, but we'll just call this category type. And we have income and expense. And I'm not sure if the revert would be dot schema. I feel like it probably would not be. Oh, nope, it would be this. It's database.enum and that dot delete. Okay. So let's add category type, create category type to our configure function. And we were doing app.migrations.add, and we were adding this one. So we're going to add this migration. It'll then be in the database, and then we'll add the other migration for creating category. So we'll run it, and we should see it down here tell us. Yep, and we started the create category type, and we finished it. Awesome. Because as well, the result of create is unused. I don't think it is, but okay. But because here, it knows what migrations have already run because of the database here. If we go back to Fluent Migrations and we refresh this, because it already knows that one ran, it knows that we only need to run the second one, and then we're good. Okay, so we did that. That's been like an hour. That took like an hour to do. Okay, why does it say the result of create is unused? That fix it? Let's build it and see. Oh, that fails. Oh, because there's no return type. That's interesting. That's annoying that that's there, though. We should see, actually. Let's refresh. There, we have fluent enums. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that that's how that was going to work. Oh, that's cool. So there's a fluent enum, the name is category type, and then the case is income and expense. Cool. Oh, that one warning is gonna bother me. But it's gotta be there. Okay, now let's create our category. We need to use this. Okay, so we need to use this line to get the enum for that, and then use it in the field itself. So that would be here. So we let, it's gonna be category type. So we get our category type, and then we update it to a schema. Okay, but Can we do this in the create? Oh, do we have to do this separately? Because if we have try await schema, and this creates our category schema, which is our category table. And then we need to do database enum, read, flat map it, and then use that and create it and update the table. We're gonna put this all in one and see how it goes. Let's do it. Okay, so we do this. We need to also make sure this is down here. So this would mean we create our table with ID. ID name is archived, and that's it. And then we will also gonna throw this in here. Of reading an enum to define a new field. Actually, I don't think we need to create a whole separate thing. Okay, no, we don't need a whole separate thing. We can do dot field, it'll be a type yeah, there we go. That works. Cool, we don't need to do anything extra. So we are going to get the enum type and then use it to create this table. Cool, let's see it. Build failed. Awesome. Oh, we don't need it to be .enum. It can just be there. Yeah, so that matches the docs. Okay, now let's run. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I did not add it to the migrations. We don't need that one. Configure. There we go. Now we run it. Seems like such a method should be discardable result so you don't have to silence the warning. I don't know what discardable result does, so I'm not sure. I've seen it, but, or actually I know what that does. I've seen it. It makes it so that the result doesn't matter, I believe, but I'm not sure. Okay, cool. That is running, so we should be able to go back here, refresh our tables, and there we go. We have a categories table. Perfect. And if we look at it, let's view the table. Your name ID is archived and type. Perfect. And close to dos. Oh, okay. That took a hot minute. Can you create your own file update category? What do you mean by create your own file specifically? Okay, and also I'll be right back. I'm just gonna like step off and come back. Okay, there you go. You should be able to hear me. Okay, yeah, Martin, you said it means that you don't have to do the, yeah. True. I don't know if it is a discardable result. I'm surprised that the warning is even coming up because it doesn't come up on anything else, but... Okay, so you understand English but do not speak it. Create your own file update category. So yeah, I will be doing... We're going to create an endpoint that will allow me to update these categories. So this is just the table right here. Let's go to view data. So this will just be the categories table, meaning each row in this table will be a different category. Meaning, like, we'll have a category called YouTube income, a category for expenses, so it could be like taxes or something like that. So that will be a row in this table, and we will later make endpoints that will allow us to update those categories if we need to. I'm not sure if that really answered your question. Okay. Ooh, I like this music. Okay, we have our categories, so that's good. We have... I would say that's good right here. We have this table. Let's call that one done. So I'm gonna add a check. There we go. Let's do... Okay, income's really long. It took us like an hour to do that. Accounts is not that long. Let's do accounts. Create category, or I should have kept that open. Create category. And so you see right here, we're adding all the migration. Let's, you know what we should do? Let's commit, because Git is important. Okay, we have added a bunch of things. Let's do add. We are going to commit, create. So we created our migrations, and what does this do? This will... that's all we need. We don't need another message. There we go. We have committed it. Ooh, you know what I haven't done? Let's make a GitHub repo. Let me open GitHub. And... here we go. Now new repo. Okay, what do we call this? What do we call the project? Expense tracker kit. So this is the Vapor backend for the expense tracker app. So I'm going to make this private because I can, but it's, again, if you watch my streams, you can see all the code that's in the repository. But I'm not going to make it like public so that people can like contribute to it or anything. So it'll be private. We don't need a readme, and create. Yay! Okay. Let's add the remote. And git push-u origin main. And there we go. So now we go refresh it. And we have it. Okay. I do want to make a readme right there, because I like readmes, so let's... Okay, Docker file, okay. Ooh, shows up here, awesome. Gotta spell expense, right? E-X-P-E-N-S, tracker. Let's do the same as my description for right now, the Vapor And I may possibly make this open source later on, but I'm not going to for right now. Okay, we are going to commit add readme.md and push. So if we go back here, we should be able to refresh and we have our readme. Awesome. Only 60% of this project is Swift and the rest is a Docker file. That's funny. Also, I can run... I have a command that or not a command, it's an alias that I created so I can count the lines of code in my project. 211 little lines of code. Cool. Let's create an account now. New migration. Let's call this create account. Create account. And we're gonna copy. Whoops. Did I copy it? Yeah, copy all of this. Instead of create category, we will have create account. We don't need that. This will be called accounts. And we will only have 2 fields, name and an ID. And there we go, that one's done. So what I could actually do is put this whole migrations, you can make a function just called migration, like how this is a public function called configure. We could make just a function called migrations and drop them all in here so this doesn't become like this super, super long list. But we'll do that later. Hey Anthony, how is it going? How is your day? Let's run this. So what we are doing right now, and for anyone else who just joined in, we are creating the custom Vapor backend for the iOS app that I'm going to be making. So Vapor is a web framework that we can use instead of using Firebase or MongoDB or AWS. We will be using Vapor to make our API and communicate with a database. So what I am doing right now is just getting started making the different tables that I'll have, and then later, probably not today, but later what we are going to do is make all the different endpoints that I'll have. So we just created the categories table, and we just made the accounts table. So now we need to run it, and ooh, will it be done building by the time of the drop? Oh, it's already done. Awesome. So we can go back to tables, we can refresh, and there we go, we have an accounts table. We view the data, we just have an ID and a name, which is exactly what we want. Okay, what table should we make next? We have income and we have expense. Let's do expense because it's shorter. New Swift file. So, oh, actually, we're gonna close that one. Or no, we can keep it, but let's commit what we just did. Okay, git restore. Okay, we want to just do the create account commit. So we do want to add sources.configure. Okay, so let's do create account and configure. So now let's commit this. Perfect. Now we want to create expenses. So let's copy create account, because copying and pasting is easy. It's a lot faster. Let's do create expenses. We have expenses. Okay, and we have, move that right there so we can see it. We have expenses. We have an ID. We have a category. Okay, now we're gonna figure out how to do foreign keys. Let's type category here. Category. So we'll come back to that one. Let's do amount. And then this is a decimal / money. Oh, was that the thing? Was there a... Okay, I'm just gonna type double right here for right now, but we looked this up in a previous stream of what is the best data type to use for money. We are on, yeah, schema. We have create update fields. Okay, here we go. We have okay, we will need this date property. That's what we'll use for that one. Let's just write that one in right now too. Comment that one out because we will come back to it in just a minute. Let's do date. Or it's called date. And it is of type date. And constraint is that required. Because, yeah, we don't, or I personally, in all of my things, I don't care what the time was that I did an expense. I just care about the date that it happened. And then Peter, change func revert to expenses. Oh, thank you. I need to do that as well. Yeah, don't forget that. Copy and paste errors. Copy and paste is great until you forget something. Then it's not as great. Forget to change something. Okay, perfect. We have that. We have date. Let's do description. Oops, dot field is description. Is that spelled right? I think it is. Let's double check the internet. I don't know how to spell. Yeah, description. Cool. Okay, data type is a string. This is not required, so I think if it's not required, I don't think we need a dot required field on it. I'm pretty sure. Let's look at the create to do. It doesn't have it because that one's required. I think we should be we should be fine without the dot required. Oh, hey, here, I think this is what I'm looking for the foreign key. We'll look at that in a second, but yeah, we should be good without dot required on that. And then, okay, last thing is both of our foreign keys and the decimal. So let's do category. Okay, that's the foreign key. This one is account, foreign key. Let's figure out the money part first. So here's our supported data types. Okay, we just have float and double. What do we want to use? This may be the last thing we do, depending on how long this takes. Yep, foreign key. We'll get there. Oh shoot, do I need? Okay, good. That's default identifier, so that is the default primary key. Cool, good. Didn't want to mess that up and have to redo all of them. But, okay, what do we want to use? This was a big debate the last stream, I want to say. Do we do a double or do we do a float for the money value? What did we find out? Because I wrote decimal / money for the DB. Because money is a property, I believe, of Postgres. Documentation, probably? Yeah. That just says that. Oh, yeah. I think I know that. We're gonna get to the foreign key part in a second. Let's figure out first. Most important is really kind of the money aspect of it, because we'll be comparing values and doing math on money. And I wanted this to possibly support multiple currencies. So right now we are using Postgres database. So that is a SQL database. Ooh, data types, here we go. Numeric, monetary. Yeah, so there is a money type within Postgres. But it looks like Vapor doesn't support that money type. Can be cast to money. Let's see. Let's look. Does Vapor support decimal? I do not know. Let's see. We have string. No, it does not. We can choose either float or double for this project. Let me look. Let's see, hopefully this opens. I asked this on Twitter. Okay, you enjoy code backend, Mikaela. Sometimes do backend, but after a while you got back to comfort, which is iOS development. Yeah, I love iOS development. It's a lot of fun. Vapor is just very interesting, I think, and I already know a lot about databases, so it's not a far stretch for me to learn the backend stuff. And I would say I generally still enjoy it for sure. Were you going to do any role-based access for multi-user? Not right now, Craig, because I could, but we're not going to right now. Because the goal is to try to release this by the iOS 16 release, which is about mid-September. So July. We have about a month, so we'll see how this goes. In your project you have... Yeah, Peter, I'll do the foreign key in just a minute. I'm still trying to decide the money thing. So here, I asked this on my Twitter. For my expense tracking app, what data type do I use? Int, float, or double, or something else? Yeah, Megan, int makes sense, but then how do I do decimals? That's what gets me. Okay. Alberto had said float. Okay, Johan. Sorry. Names get me. Johan. He does int and then divide by 100. Alberto had done double. Okay, just based on this, I could probably get away with float. Yeah, I know. But, like, not everybody has sense. Like, when I was in Japan, They have Japanese yen, they have no cents. They just have whole numbers. When I think about it, I'm like, you know, the US should have that too. That'd be awesome. Like, no change, that'd be great. But I might just go with float based on we don't need like hella precision, honestly. Hey Peter, how's it going? Happy Friday. Okay, Martin, please explain. For money, you always use integer. Why? Why? I gotta know. Oh gosh. So that's that link, and okay, we have Hey Peter, yeah, Megan already streamed on Twitch this morning. It was like 2 hours ago. They get up way earlier than I do. And they're even a time zone behind. Streaming that early. So I have 2 mugs just in case I ran out. So we're out on this first mug. You'll see the second one soon. Okay, there's a type in Foundation called decimal. It says floats are not accurate, and so rounding errors can lead to amounts being incorrect or over. Peter, it's possible international currencies, so I would like for this to start probably in the United States and then later be expanded to other currencies. You know what? I need to ask. I should ask. I am going to ask Malin and Kai. And let's see if they respond to me. Because they created their own Vapor backend for their application called Orbit, and that does later deal with money. So, let's see. Data type to use for did it? Let me look back at my messages. Did I already ask this? Okay. Here's Mullen. Let's see what she says. Okay. Martin, if you store the currency in the whole amount, so yen, US, Canada, British, pence, you can use NS number formatter on the front end to format correctly for each person. So, like, if I saved $10, or if you save like 10.15, how do you know it's 1,015 versus being like $10.15? If you don't know the context for how it was saved. That's what gets me about the whole integer part of it. Because, like, I completely get what you're saying, but how do I know how it was saved? Here's my new coffee mug. It's a ghost. It's my Halloween mug. Yep, it's everybody. I'm currently working on something that deals with money. Okay, when to use decimal. Okay, we're gonna go with double. I think, wait, did this say double? Double has way more precision than float, but I asked this of somebody else as well. What did they say? Okay, I was gonna use decimal, but it's... Yeah, Vapor doesn't support decimal, right? Is what I decided. Yeah. Okay, so Marty said... Stack Overflow is offline. What? Well, that is unfortunate. We're gonna take a screenshot of this and... How long is it offline for? Stackstatus.net. Unstable. Yo. We have stuff to do right now. But okay, Martin, you said you would have a currency field to give the context. So if you store 1015, it's the value. If the currency field is USD, you know it's $10. So we would have another field. So like here, we would have the amount. We'd have to have another field that would say like currency. Oh, I get that. Yeah, I know the best thing definitely would be to have a formatter on the front end because yeah, storing on the back end is a hassle. So Martin, yeah, if you can say that, like, we would have another parameter in my expense table that would say the type. Is that the proper way you mean? Because if you say like that's all good, that's what I'll go with. Okay. You've convinced me. Here we go. Close all those. We will use integer. Do you think I should use a uint? Because we don't actually need the integer to be signed, because I'm not really going to store like negative, it's just going to be a number. Expense will just end up being, this will be a negative value. We'll just keep it integer, make it simple. Okay. Amount. Where did I put this? Here. Amount is going to be an integer. And then we will have now another field called currency. Dot string. That's definitely required. Okay, Martin, you have convinced me. What is your handle on Twitter? I will tweet this out. That's the way we're going. here. This is it. Money. Let's also throw in currency as a string. Because someone could be working USD, but they're using a different localization, so you can't rely on the user's locale for determining. This is true. Good points. Okay. Are you the same one? Were you on Megan's stream? I think is that the same username? Here we go. Oh my gosh, I can't type. Actually, I have Twitter open right now, don't I? Here, tweet. What is it? Oh no. There you go. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Usernames are hard. There's everyone's usernames everywhere. Here we go. Live tweeting. Not friend, front end. Okay. There we go. Tweet. There we go. You have been tweeted. Okay. Cool. So we have all of those. Now we need to go back to the foreign key fun that we were delaying. This may be the last thing. I didn't think it would take this long to make 3 tables, but it has. That is okay. Okay, back to foreign key. Peter, you had written something. Okay, C foreign key. Here we go. Foreign key constraints require that a field's value match ones that values in the reference field. Useful for preventing invalid data from being saved, foreign key constraints can be added as either a field or a top-level constraint. To add a foreign key field, use references. Are we still... Yeah, we're still just working on this one file. Okay, we need a foreign key for category. Peter, you're probably rambling, haven't had coffee yet. It happens. But thank you for everyone for helping me make that decision, because naming is the first hardest part, and we've planned that out, but then data types are also very difficult, especially with Swift, that's a type-safe language. But okay, we have fields. Let's do add a foreign key, use references. Adding a field foreign key constraint. We have field, a star ID, which is required and it references star and ID. Okay, what is the difference? Same constraint. What is the difference between a top level constraint versus that one? A field or top level constraint? I don't think it matters. I want to say top level because it sounds more like a thing. Megan, I would say you're a morning person more so than the average person. I would say more than sometimes, from what I have seen. Foreign key actions. In the database, bypassing flow. This means that like model middleware and soft delete may not work correctly. Oh. Okay, we're gonna do this one. I don't know. Let's ask. Let's do top level. What's it called? Top level constraint versus field. For vapor. Ooh, the Swift Dev. Good blog. Okay, Martin, storing money integers, storing money as integers is one of the few things you remember from the database module in university. Okay, cool. I am glad that we have that. But you also, Megan, you also like late nights, so, which is a problem because you need sleep. Yeah, same. Yeah, Peter, I'm definitely still on the more of a night side person. The fact that I do these streams at 9 a.m. Eastern is to try to be more productive on Fridays, because I have a 4-day work week, so I don't work on Friday. And because of that, I want to try to be productive and work on either my own apps or freelancing. So right now, this is working on my own app, mainly because I wanted to make it. But I also I do freelance work as well. So I'm going to have lunch after this and then do freelance work is like sort of partially the goal. But then later after I finish that freelance project, I'll probably still either be working on this and or some other of one of my apps is kind of the goal. Let's see. Foreign key. Okay, here we go. Jeff, apparently ADHD people are not morning people, aka you. It happens. I don't know if I know an ADHD person who is also a morning person. Most I know aren't, but it happens. Yeah, Peter, I have the same. I have a full-time job, so the only time I work on my own projects are on the weekends and evenings. But this is helping because it helps grow my YouTube channel. For anybody who is here and they're liking everything that we're doing, be sure to like this video so it helps with the YouTube algorithm, is what I hear people say. And also, if anybody is interested, you don't have to, but if anyone feels inclined, you can buy me a coffee with that link. But feel no pressure to. Just dropping it if you really like everything that I'm doing. Let's see, one-to-one relationships. That's what we're doing right now. Or no, it's not one-to-one, we're doing one-to-many. Let's see. You think you're just irritable all the time as an engineer? I think it can take many things to make an engineer irritable, and it can be something super teeny tiny. Speaking also as an engineer, foreign key. Okay, they use the foreign key one, which is the top level one. Okay, we do have one-to-many. That's what we are doing. Let's do... Okay, they also do that. Okay, I don't think it matters that much. So let's just drop this here. So is that similar to who had posted something? Peter. Okay, yeah, this is similar to what Peter had posted as well. Okay, we are going to reference the category ID. So would that be... It's categories ID, because yeah, that's what I named the table. So categories underscore ID references categories ID. That should be good. So Martin, you were just looking up how you would determine how many decimals a particular currency has, and I've learned that it's not a case of 2 decimal points versus 0, but some... Oh yeah, I knew some had 3. I didn't know some had 4. That sounds confusing. But that is good to know. We will cross that bridge when we get there, cause that will be a time. Okay, we also not categories. We want to copy this. So we want to do accounts. Accounts underscore ID. And then accounts. I called it accounts, right? Yeah, accounts. Okay. Oh, I think we did it. We have ID. Category ID. Amount. Currency, which is down there. We have date, description, and account ID. Let's see if it works. Let's add it to our migrations. Oops, not that one. Crete. What did I call this? Oh, copy and paste error. This should be Crete. Expenses. Did anyone else see that? Oh. There we go. That was... Oh, that could have been a big typo. One coffee on its way. Oh, thank you so much. Did I see it? Okay, just came in on my phone. Has it already popped up on my stream? I have to look at it because there's no sound. That's one of the things I want to do next, leveling up my stream, is making making alerts and things, because it sounds fun. I'll look for it. Maybe it may have already passed and I just didn't see it. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay. If they popped up, thank you. I appreciate it, but I didn't see them because I need to fix my stream alerts, because yeah, I need to figure out how to make that do something, because or make it have sound. Otherwise, I won't hear it, because I have to be looking at the stream, which is way over here where my camera is, but my computer is completely facing this way. But thank you so much, Peter, and somebody else as well. I appreciate it. 4 decimals would hurt your brain and you'd never pay cash. Yo, same. I use a credit card all the time anyways. I'm lucky if I have $20 on me. So if somebody ever mugs me, they'll be upset I don't have anything for them to... Okay, oh, Peter, you were from... I don't know how to pronounce that city, and I'm not going to try because I don't want to, butcher it. But from Germany, explain to me how you can pay for a coffee without giving your credit card number. I believe you would have to give your credit card number. It's secure through Stripe, so that is... Let me bring in the link. So if you go to buy me a coffee, you click on the amount here. You can decide to write something, and then you can either pay with your card or use Apple Pay. I will not see your credit card information. So do not worry about that. Let me double check. I'm double checking the notifications I get, but yeah, I don't see your credit card information. I would just see that, like, who it was, and I believe you have to type an email when you do this. If you have Apple Pay set up, you can do it that way. But I don't see that. But yes, thank you so much for everybody here. Peter, thank you. Lord Mooch, thank you. Okay, awesome. Thanks so much, though. I appreciate you all wanting to do that. It's the end of the stream. Okay, we need to run this. We haven't run it yet. Here we go. Let's see. This is the end. I don't know why this pop-up always comes up. I'm sure there's a way to, like, globally allow this, because it is obnoxious that it always comes up. Oh, I would have to allow apps. I could go and do that. Oh no, we got an error. Okay, yeah. Error is at top level. Categories ID referenced in foreign key does not exist. Well, it should. Oh, I wasn't ready to do more debugging. I wanted this to just work. Okay, let's double check the database that nothing... Refresh. We are doing create expenses. Okay. Let's look at our fluent migrations. Is this the refresh button? Okay, create account and create... Okay, we didn't have create expenses though, so we should be good. And we don't have our expense table because it failed. Okay, let's see how to do this. Bitcoin bugging will never be a thing. That'd be an interesting thing. Okay, what is categories ID? Categories ID does not exist. But we have categories and it has an ID property. Should this just be ID? Because it's just called ID, it's not actually called categories ID? Let's see. Let's try it. Build succeeded, that's good. Fatal error. Oh, accounts ID. Okay, so I think categories ID worked. And you can see, so the reason that the migration is actually not showing up in the Fluent migrations, if we refresh this, we don't have create expenses, which is the migration we are trying to run right now. The reason it doesn't show up is because it hasn't been fully completed. Meaning, this is a try statement, so we are trying to do this because it could throw right here. And because this part of it is failing, the whole thing is throwing the error and it's not actually completing the operation. Hey Megan, thank you for stopping by. Have a good rest of your day. And yeah, I'll probably end the stream pretty soon once I figure out this bug. And I think I have it. Let's do it. Build succeeded. Click OK. Dang it, I thought that would be it. Fatal error. Okay, foreign key expenses ID. Relation expenses already exist. Okay, what is going on now? Okay, so Martin, you found out there doesn't seem to be a built-in way for how to determine how many decimal points a currency has, but if you need, there's apparently a Swift framework called Money on GitHub that does. Ooh, can you DM that link to me on Twitter? I will check it out. Thank you. Okay, expenses ID. Foreign key expenses ID already exists. Which one already exists? Is it because I already did this one? Let's see. Okay, we don't have expenses. How can an ID already exist? You could allow exit code to access the whole drive if you feel safe, but if not... Yeah, it's some process. I'll fix it later. I don't really care to click okay, it doesn't bother me. Now, what bothers me though, foreign key expenses.id already exists. What already exists? How am I doing this wrong? We have ID name. Maybe we should just try it this way. So I was not planning for streaming. So I usually only stream either an hour, hour and a half, or 2 hours. But I need to figure this out. We can't stop in the middle of this. Yeah, Martin, thank you. You can even drop the link in this, or no, you may not be able to drop the link in this chat. So if you DM it to me on Twitter, I'll drop it in the chat. Okay, is it line 14 and line 19 competing with each other? I don't know. It could be because how it was referenced in the docs was a lot of, yeah, Matt, how it was referenced in the docs was we have categories underscore ID and then account underscore ID. But, you know, now that you say that and what it shows expense.id, right here, expenses.id and expenses.id, that could be it. Let's do it. Categories. That is not how you spell it. Categories underscore ID. Oh yeah, because we have to make the... This would be the name of the field. Okay, so that's right. You're right. That's how that works. Is this needs to both be these. Did I spell account or categories wrong? Create category. Categories. That is right, and then we use the ID property. So we have an update. Okay, constraints. Here we go. Okay, let's look at it again. Foreign key. Top level foreign key constraint. References. Those two. I'm doing that right. Accounts and ID. We have accounts, right? We made that one. Okay, we have accounts. View data. An ID property in the accounts table. And we have categories. We have an ID property. Okay, DM'd. Perfect. Let me open it up. Okay, so here is the link Martin found for the library for the money thing. For using money, because money is hard. Okay. We have categories ID, and we have accounts ID. We reference both of those. And the property is just called ID. Okay, let's just run it again and see what the error is again. Okay, unlike field constraints, top-level constraints can be added in a schema update. They can also be named. Okay, if this one doesn't work, which I know it won't, because yeah, we have the error still. Reference in foreign key constraint that does not exist. It can be added in a schema update. Must match fields in the stars ID field. Let's just use this one and see. Okay, instead of stars, we're gonna use categories. Oops. So this is a foreign key as a field constraint as opposed to a top level constraint. Let's see what that does. And let's change this one, not that word. Dot field. Okay, I don't know why that is not syntax highlighting. It's obnoxious. We want accounts ID, required references. But that makes sense. Oh. So we have both of these were pasted in and they are not syntax highlighted. That's weird. Okay, we have field, we have categories ID, it's a UID, and it's required, and then it references categories ID. That makes sense. Let's see how this one goes. Okay. Oh, create expenses, that worked. Okay, whatever that top level constraint was, it did not like it. So we should be able to refresh this. We have our expenses table. And when we view data, we have ID, categories ID, amount, currency, date, description, and accounts ID. Cool. Well, that's all that took. Okay, there we go. That's what we have done. Let's mark this one as done. So, what we did today, we were able to create 3 tables. So we created our categories table, the accounts table, and then the expenses table. And that is the start. So we created our 3 tables. We can create this one. Let's create it because we only have one more left and we have figured out how to do this, so it shouldn't take long to make income. Let's see, I say it shouldn't take long, but watch it take like longer than we expect. Let's do it though. Because I don't want to stop like in the middle of this. Let's commit though the expenses. Let's do not reset. Oh no. We must have a file path. Sources. Okay, we want to add sources, create expenses, and add the configure file. Okay. There we go. Now let's work on create income. Copy that. Paste it. We don't really need foundation. Okay. Oh no. Here we go. Okay, we need those fields, and half of those are already here. So let's call this income. Okay, we have income. We have an ID property. Do I even note that ID property? Oh yeah, it's way down there. Oh, let's move it. It does not matter that much, but... Okay, we have our ID property, amount. We have categories ID. We need that one. We need amount. We need currency. Did I still have date? I had a couple dates. Okay, let's separate. That's the ones we've done. Okay, we want description. Let's drop that one up here. We want accounts. Date. I have a couple dates. We have invoice date, invoice number, so that's one. Invoice number. So this will be a string, and it is not going to be required because sometimes you'll have something that may not have an invoice number on it. time to get into your day. Peter, thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, and thank you for the coffees as well. I appreciate it. And have a good, rest of your day. We have invoice number. What else do we need? Category ID, we did that. Date paid. Okay. Field. Date paid. Oh, you know what I've done? Oh, have I done it on the other ones? So I have an underscore for the categories ID for these, but these ones where I have multiple words, I'm using camel case as opposed to snake case. I think databases it is more common to have snake case, but let's see, did I do it for any of the others? Okay, I did is archived. Okay, this would be the first one. Cool. So the whole thing is inconsistent. Oh yeah, Martin, thank you for subscribing. I don't know. There is an alert for that. Did that pop up? I know there's one. And I believe you all can hear it, but I think I still haven't set it up so I can hear that alert. But thank you for subscribing. Okay, we have date paid. Oh, how do I want to do it? Do I want to do like that to make them consistent? I'll make them consistent. Even though I don't like snake case, it'll be fine. Okay, this is a date, and this is required. We're gonna have a lot of validation on the front end to make sure people fill everything out. We have date paid, description. I think that's it. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, cool. We have all the fields. And look how much faster that was now that we know how to do this. Okay, we have income, create income. Let's do it. Okay, you know what we did not do? We did not add it to our expenses, or not expenses, sorry, to our migrations. .add, create income. Now, let's run it. There we go, create income migration, and we go back to our database. Refresh, and now we have income. And if we look at the data, ID, category, amount, currency, description, accounts ID, invoice, and date paid. Awesome. Perfect. Let's commit that. Create income migration. There we go. Let's mark this one as done. It only took 15 extra minutes. And there we go. We have created all of the different tables that we need for this application. That we need so far. I don't want to say forever because we don't know. But we were able to create the category table, the accounts table, or categories, the income table, and the expenses table. So perfect. We were able to do that. We used Vapor and created all the different migrations that we have for those different, not that one, for the different tables. Cool. So that's about it then. I think the next stream will probably be starting to create all of the different controllers for actually adding and updating the data and putting data in the tables themselves. So yeah, thank you to everybody for joining this stream. I appreciate all the coffees from everybody, and be sure to like the video if you like seeing like this real live coding and actually like what it looks like going through the documents and figuring out like how to do something, like how to make the enum property and how to make that foreign key constraint. So yeah, thank you for everybody who joined and commented and chatted with me today. And I will see you all in the next stream next Friday. Bye.